Hey there, how you doing? It's Chris from Fit School. I have just been out for a quick run to get myself warmed up for our next session. Please do the same thing. Give yourself 5 minutes, get yourself ready, because once your muscles are nice and warm, we can get into some mobility and some flexibility work. All you need today is a mat. So I'll point this down. There we go. All you need is a mat. You also need a tennis ball, one of these, and potentially also a towel. On a towel or a band, one of these as well as an option. They're all there just in case you need that for later. Okay, we're into the stretch and mobility sessions. So you need to get that tennis ball that I mentioned at the start of the class and have this to hand. You can do these absolutely anywhere, and these are things that really all runners should be doing, but we aren't really good at doing them because, again, as I mentioned before, we want to get our trainers on and get out the front door. So you're going to grab this ball first, and also one thing to mention about this kind of work is that the jury's still out on whether using a ball to help massage out certain body parts is effective. And all I'd say is it all depends on whether it works for you. If it doesn't work for you, then don't feel that you have to do that, but it works for a lot of people, and hopefully this will give you some benefit too. So we're going to start off first with showing you how it works. So all the ball is doing is it's applying resistance against you as you massage yourself on the floor. You often see people in the gym and you might be thinking, what on earth they're doing when they're rolling around on the floor with a ball or a roller under their legs. But what they're trying to do is you're trying to relax certain muscles which could be quite tight. So we're going to begin first on the mat. I'm going to start with my hamstrings. I'm going to place this tennis ball in the middle of my hamstring, and I'm going to try and bring my toe up towards me. This foot is flat on the floor, and I'm very gently just going to roll up and then down. And any spot that I feel that is tender, I'm just going to hold that position. So I can feel this now on the inside of my hamstring as I curl my toes in towards me. So I'm just going to hold that there so it releases. So it's about a 7 out of 10, and it goes down to a 5, 4 for 3, and then I'm going to move it around. See if I can find another spot. No, that's pretty good. Okay, hold up there. There's one more. So I'm going to hold up there for about 10 seconds or longer. Feel free to go on a bit longer if need be. And then relax. Okay, so I'm going to change legs. Make sure I'm both even on both sides. So again, I'm going to curl my toes in towards me. Let's try and get a bit of extra tension through my hamstring. I'm just going to roll it up and round. And actually my left one isn't too bad, but let's just imagine there's a spot there and hold it there. Yep, there's a spot just above the knee. I'm going to hold that there. And then find another spot, and then we're good to go. Okay, so that's the hamstrings. Now the calves are, again, similar, where you put the calf, the ball under the middle of the calf, curl the toe up towards you, and then just roll that just around the calf, up and down until you feel there's any kind of tension through the calves. I mean, I generally like massage, and I respond well to it in the sense that I feel relaxed afterwards. So all this kind of stuff really helps get me in good race shape. It's good to remember you're not trying to roll spaghetti or roll pastry, sorry, not spaghetti, but roll pastry. You want to feel that you're trying to find any spots that could be tender, and if they are, you stop, hold it there, and then change sides. So that feels pretty good. I'm going to change legs. So it's right in the middle of my calf muscle. I'm going to put this foot flat on the floor and just roll up and down. And actually, strangely enough, this one is quite tender around the outside. I'm just going to hold that there. You can also use breathing to help to relax. So when you feel that tension, take a big deep breath in and then breathe out. Just to try to relax, because you don't want to feel that you're in a tug of war as you're trying to relax, because what this can actually do, it can have the opposite effect, because if it's painful, it doesn't allow you to relax into that, and so therefore you're getting this tension in the muscle. So you want to feel that you're able to relax as you're going through the different various rolling exercises with the ball. So I've done both calves. Now I'm going to switch up to the glutes, because it's a touch more tender. And the first thing you want to feel that you can do is if you can get into this position. If that position is uncomfortable, then it's going to be even worse with a ball, because you're going to place this ball under the glutes, right on the belly of the muscle. And I'll show you what I mean by the belly of the muscle. Right here, the belly of the muscle is like a straw C shape, up from your hip and round to here, and it's right here, okay? Almost where your back pocket would be, but then going up a touch higher. So where your back pocket would be, but then up a touch higher. That's where you want to feel this ball is going to be touching. So here we go. We go down, it goes. There's just a bit in the back pocket, and this is the glutes, and then piriformis as well. It's a muscle which, if it gets tight, it's very hard to release. So I'm just going to sit here in that position, because that's quite tender, and I'm going to relax. And use your arms as well. If you feel like you can't put almost pressure onto your glute, take the weight off the ball and just hold it in that position. I start to relax. I'm then going to follow the shape of the glute round and down, up towards the hip and then round. That feels pretty good. Okay. Then I'll change sides. My face used to as I'm doing this, so just to show you I'm doing both sides. So I'm just rolling round. This glute is off the floor. I'm pushing up through my hands to see if I can feel that working. There we go. That's there. Yep, there's a spot. And then continue rolling round and round and round. Oh, there's another spot. My left side seems bad today. And then there it goes. Okay, right, so it's in the glutes. Next spot is the, it's called the IT band. The IT band, it runs from the outside of the knee up to the outside of the hip. Now the IT band is a classic runner's, or it's a bane of most runners' life. Because if you get it tight in your IT band, then you've got a whole host of problems to come, and it takes a while for it to calm down. Now, I'm actually not that keen on people rolling out their IT band to try to somehow correct a problem, because if the IT band has got issues, the issue is further up or down the chain, and you need to see somebody who knows what they're talking about, either a very good running coach, a good PT, or even maybe someone who's interested in strength and conditioning for runners. But if your IT band starts to get tender, you start to get knee pain, don't think just rolling this will sort it out. But bearing that in mind, this is a good MOT to make sure the IT band is functioning properly. So you want to pop this under, or on the side of the leg where the IT band is. So it goes under your leg. I'm going to cross this leg over the top, and that is just giving me, it's like giving me some pressure off the IT band as I roll up and then down. So I can feel, that feels pretty good actually as I roll up and down. Not much pressure there at all. Yeah, that feels pretty good. Okay, thankfully, change sides. Okay, so go upon the IT band, come across, and then I'm just going to roll up and down again. That feels pretty good as well. Currently in a low volume stint of my training, so I'm not actually doing that much running. So I wouldn't expect this to be that tight at the moment. But I'd imagine as the volume creeps up, I'll start to get towards some of my endurance runs, that'll start to get tender again and relax. Again, that's pretty good. Right, so we've done glutes, piriformis, we've done calves, we've done hamstrings, a bit of IT band, we're going to do a little bit of quad, and then that's the legs done. So we're going to now focus on the VMO. The VMO is the teardrop muscle, which goes from your knee, inside your kneecap, up to sort of the middle of your thigh. So that's the one we're going to roll now. So you're going to be, this is the one that you see people in the gym looking like they're just sort of trying to grind their knees into the floor. But there is a purpose to this one. So you're in this position, and you're placing the ball on that VMO. So the knee is bent. It's not bent at 90, so it's bent, it's in between. And I'm just going to just roll myself forwards and backwards up that line. Now this one is definitely tender for me. My right side is always tender. And it's a very small move, up and then back. I'm going to find the worst bit, it's all quite tender. And I'm just going to try to relax all the way through that. Again, if you feel you want to stay here a bit longer for any stretch or any of these exercises, feel free. If they feel fine, then just skip forward to the next section. Okay, so that's that side done. Switch sides. Yeah, legs at the side, going to roll up and then back, so up and back. Just going to find the spot. Again, that's quite tender, strangely enough, on this side. So I'm just going to hold that there. Okay, good, and then relax. And last place, we're going to look at the hip flexors. And again, the ball will just be rolling, so rolling down from top of the hip down to, let's say, mid-thigh. So I'm going to lie this on one side, and I'm just going to try and put a bit of pressure on this side. I'm just going to just roll up and down, a tiny movement. Now, if that is okay, you can then cross this leg over, try and get more pressure down through that side. And if that weight on the legs is okay, you can just move the ball. You can move the ball and then just lean onto that side. So I'm really leaning onto this right hand side now. Okay, again, that feels fine. Move the ball out of the way and move it up a bit higher, maybe higher towards that hip, and try and get some weight on that side. So this side feels pretty good. I'm going to change sides. Over to the other side. And the thing about this is, you can do this whilst watching a bit of TV. You know, you could put something on, or listen to a podcast, and again, all these little things you can do whilst maybe others think, oh, there's no point because I'm not able to run. You can just tick these things off that you wouldn't be doing, and I think you'd be surprised of how much improvement you're going to get with the running conditioning programs from earlier, the core work, and some mobility work as well. Yeah, so this side again feels quite tender. Just going to hold that there. And then, yeah, okay, right. And then we are done. So that's our roller done. It's called trigger pointing, where you just use a tennis ball. You can buy fancy balls as well, but to be honest, get a regular tennis ball, and if it's too painful to start off with, make sure there's a bit of give in the ball that you can actually squeeze it. This one's quite hard, so try and get a softer ball if you can. Once you've trigger pointed, we'll then go into the next session, which will be your stretch. Okay, so here we go into the stretch section. All you need for this is your mat and a towel if you think that you're a little tight in certain areas. But if not, you can always use your hands. I will use my hands because the towel is not necessary, but some of you may have seen different stretches used with towels. So to begin, into down onto the floor, onto the back. Then focus purely on the hamstrings. Now, this is such a contentious topic, or whether or not you can actually stretch out your hamstrings. What we're trying to do is trying to improve from where you first started, and you only do this once you warmed up. Stretching before your workout is not essential, or actually it's not beneficial in one way whatsoever. You might feel you're getting the benefit, but it's not doing you the benefit that you think it is. You get yourself warmed up, maybe you do a little bit of trigger pointing like you did in the last session, and then you can come down and do this. So in fact, even if you did a small section of this after you've been outside for a 5-minute jog, it'd be fantastic. And that could be a 10-minute workout, 5-minute jog, get yourself warmed up, 5 minutes of stretches, and then that's a great addition to your plan. So onto the back, one knee bent, one leg straight. I'm just going to hold this position. Now if you want to have a towel around your toe or around the leg to make it easier, that's fine. You can pull the leg anywhere from the calf or the back of the knee. I'm just going to hold this position, keeping my hip down on the floor. Now I'm going to very gently pull against my arms. Not that hard, just really gently. I'm going to pull against the arms. And then I relax and then pull a little further in. And then I pull against the arms. Again, I pull, not too hard, so you feel a gentle tingle up the back of the leg. If a toe starts to get numb, then maybe a little bit of sciatic nerve impingement there. I don't need to do too much, just a gentle pull against the arms and relax. I feel that's starting to relax, and then move further up towards the calf. And then pull against the arms. And then relax. And then pull in. So I can feel I started here, and after that it improved to about here. And that's pretty much me going from being stiff to being back to sort of my set point where I feel I normally am. Okay, let's change the other side. So I get to here, it just feels a little stiff, that it's not quite at the point where it's at its normal flexibility. So I'm just going to hold this here. I'm going to pull against my arms. And then relax, and I pull in a bit more, and then pull in against my arms. Just doing 5 to 8 seconds. And relax. And then I'm going to pull against my arms. And relax. In we come. And then ease back. Okay, so that's the hamstrings done. Again, you can feel you can use a towel to make it a bit easier. If you find that your arms are working too hard in that position. Right, we're going to now the glutes. I'm going to go into what's called the 90-90 stretch. I'm going to show you 2 glute exercises, because if you have any knee issues, this one will be an issue. So you start off first in the 90-90 stretch, or hurdle stretch, 1 knee forward, 1 knee back. And then you want to feel that you're coming over the front of this leg. So I'm coming over the front of this leg to this position. I'm just going to hold that position here. If my tummy can just fall flat on towards my thigh, then there's nowhere for that to go. It's not a good enough stretch for me to do, or at least I've got to the point where I need to add something else. If you're struggling here, then just stay in that position. Again, if you find you come all the way down, and that's okay, just hold, and then hopefully that should start to relax. Now, as we're doing a developmental stretch, we're holding, or we're doing the actual stretch, sorry, for at least a minute. So it's a minute and above. If we're doing a quick stretch, let's say at the end of a workout, which again isn't that important, but if you want to do one later, then you do it for about 10 to 30 seconds. But to do a developmental stretch where you're actually trying to change something, we're going to spend 30 seconds on each side. So I was holding this position. I get to a point where it's stiff, I feel it pulling, I try and relax through it, and then I get a bit lower, and then lower. So that's about 30 seconds on this side. So let's change sides. I'm down to the floor, and then we're going into the other side. So again, going across into 90-90, so it should be 90 degrees. This one's a bit less than 90. It's running out of space. Again, any knee issues, you're going to do the alternate version in the next clip that I'll show you. So I'm going to turn my body, I'm going to lean forwards from my hips, knees down towards the floor. On this side, I feel nothing at all. So all the tension's in my right glute. That's where my tension tends to be. So I'm just holding this position. Absolutely nothing there whatsoever. Good, and you're going to carry on holding there while I show everyone the alternate version, because my left side isn't really feeling the effect. So carry on doing your left hand side. So those who are having knee issues, and that one's too intense on the knees, then go into the regular cross-leg version. You come through either under, onto the shin, or onto the hamstrings. To be honest, I would rather go onto the shin, as long as your knees are okay in that position. Hold there, and again, you're going to hold for 30 seconds, trying to increase the stretch each time, every 10 or so seconds. Okay, so that's both sides done. So if you did the left side for the hurdler stretch, you're done. And we've done the alternate version for the glutes and piriformis stretch. Right, so now we're going to go into the quads and the hip flexors. So I'm going to go onto the side, and this leg is bent for support, and this leg actually is further behind. See the gap between the knees there? So it goes behind that leg. So it's not in front, it's behind. I'm pushing my hip forward. Yeah, you see that? I'm pushing the hips forwards. And I'm just going to then pull this heel towards my glute. Now if I was to just bend my hips, you see how my heel just comes in towards my glute? There, no problem at all. So by pushing my hip forward, it makes it harder to get that leg in towards the glute. I'm just going to hold that position. Now again, if there's any issues holding that might be quite tight in the arm, then you may want to go onto your front. And if that's too tight, you'd start off in this position. So you'll be here, and you gently pull the leg in. But it's the same pattern as the last stretches we've just been doing, which is as you hold, try and pull against the pull of the arm, relax, and then pull in. Then pull against the arm, relax, and then pull in, pull against the arm, relax, and then pull in and relax. So you want to feel the stretches moving from the middle of the quad up towards the top part of the hip. Right, let's change sides. So just again, side on. So it goes back, just got some space there. Okay, so I'm going to rest my head on my bicep. So I'm trying to push my hips forwards as I pull this heel towards my bum. And I'm just going to resist. I'll try and straighten my leg against my arm. And then pull. And resist. So it should feel like a bit of work. It's not just lying on the side of your back or on your side. You want to feel that you're trying to actually do some work here. And again, pull that in. So I'm right against my bum now. And ease off. And that's actually started to relax. Again, any knee issues there. And then you can just pop onto your front and do the same thing in that position. Okay. Right. So we've gone into the quads and the hip flexors, and now we're going to go into the adductors and also hamstrings and back. Now you're going to pop the legs out either side, and what you want to feel, actually in the shot, is you're going to very gently just walk yourself forwards down the room, right in the middle of those legs. In gymnastics, this is called a pancake stretch, and for this, you're almost folding in half like a pancake. I doubt many can do this like a gymnast. In gymnastics, many people don't do this, or they haven't got that flexibility. It's not a goal. The idea behind it is that as you creep forwards, with your head down towards the floor, you can feel the inside of the thighs, the hamstrings, and also the back stretching out. It's going to hold that position. Again, as you take a big deep breath in, you breathe out, and you walk a little further forward with those hands. Make sure the toes are pointing up. If that's too intense, just bend the knees ever so slightly, bend the knees, and then walk forwards. Or bring your legs closer in together. But the idea again is to feel you're getting a stretch through the inside of your thighs, the hamstrings, and also the mid-back. Okay, staying in that pancake stretch position, you're going to go into the lower back. So one hand goes across, this goes over into that position. Now this can be quite tough if you're stiff in your back. If at any point you feel any pain, stop, come out of that, and don't go too far. This, or you might need to do some gentle Pilates exercises to try to get you into that position. So I'm holding onto this ankle and coming across. I'm going to hold, but this time I'm only holding for about 5 seconds. and I change sides. I come across, I come back to the centre, and then across. And what I want to feel is that each time I'm getting lower and lower down. Good. Again, I can feel that lower back starting to pull, but do feel it goes from the lower back up to your obliques, and then feel it's more comfortable to get down to that same point each time. Good. And last one each side. Good. And then across. Good. Okay, and to finish off with these, all you'll do is just bring your hands under the bottom parts of your trainers, or you could just put it under your feet, your barefoot. You're going to walk your feet out and just try and hold that position. Okay. You start again here. Just very gently walk your feet out until you feel that's your limit. Now, if that's comfortable, you can stay there. You might find taking a little further and then further down. Again, don't feel it's a tug of war. Don't think I must get my chest flat down on towards my thighs, otherwise it's not going to work. That's not the point. Normally it takes me half an hour to get that level of flexibility, so I wouldn't expect to do that unless I'm really, really warm. I don't expect other people to do that as well. You want to feel you've improved. Don't feel it's a goal. Right, last place, it's the lower back, and what you're going to do is you're going to place your feet on the floor, knees bent, and you're going to let your legs drop down gently to one side. Now I'm keeping my shoulders pinned down towards the floor. If you want to get an extra stretch through your mid-back, let your arms drop across to the other side, and we're going to hold that position. If that feels comfortable, I'm just going to adjust this leg down. This leg comes up, and I pull that across to increase that. I'm just going to stay here for another 15 seconds, making this roughly about 40 seconds on each side. This hand is just gently, just in camera there, pulling this knee down towards the floor. I want to feel this here in my glute, and also across into my lower back, and then relax. I'm going to change sides. So I'll do exactly the same thing. Knees down to one side, arms are going the other side as I hold that position. Again, if that's comfortable, I first of all take the bottom leg back to make space for the top leg, and it comes across. And I can feel this, it goes up into the glute as well, so it's glute and lower back. But try and keep this arm back, down across as I hold that position. And again, gently, I'm going to pull this arm and this knee down towards the floor. Last 10 seconds. And then back to the middle. Okie dokie, right, now very gently, let's come back up to the top. And this is a test, just see how your hamstrings feel. And come out. See if that's any easier. Come down towards the floor with that. Do a test, and then go back to the one we started with, which is you back onto your back. This leg is bent, this leg is straight. Up it goes, and just see how that feels compared to as you started. So you may have felt at the start you're around here, but now you're warmed up and you've increased the range of the joints. You should find there's some improvement with that. Now, that's how you do your developmental stretches. What's important is that that's done away from your runs. So you do that maybe if you have 10-15 minutes spare at home, get warmed up beforehand, then come back and you do those. But don't do that now and then go out for a run. You might feel great, but it's not what you want to do. You want to make sure that you do some more dynamic stretches to get warmed up with. You do these away from your sessions. Thank you so much for joining me for today's running conditioning session. What you saw there is some of the things that a lot of runners just generally aren't doing, or they'll do when they get injured. If you can commit to a bit of time to doing those and pick one section, get warmed up as they did earlier, and then just do one section, 10-15 minutes. And honestly, after a few weeks, you will notice the difference. Any questions at all, leave them in the comment section. And above all, if you found any of those things that were just too tricky to do, then there's always a way, always some modifications. So get in touch and we'll be happy to help you out. Take care now. See you soon. Bye-bye.